What's up, Bears fans? It's Aaron, aka the Bearded Bears fan. Tomorrow is the Hall of Fame game, and it's the return of football finally after we've been waiting for so many months. Just a few notes: Roquan Smith is still not signed. There's a holdup for the guaranteed money with the helmet-to-helmet rule that's implemented by the NFL this year. Hopefully, they'll get that lined out within the next week or so, and he can get into camp and get up to speed with everything. But I'm going to go over this video with a few things to watch for in the Hall of Fame game. Obviously, the starters are only going to play maybe a series at most, so we're not going to see Trubisky. We're not really going to see Howard. I'll be surprised if you even see Trubisky throw a single pass. Probably won't see Allen Robinson or Turbo. I'm hoping that we can see some Anthony Miller because he's been killing it in training camp. I mean, I'm on Twitter. I'm not there myself, but I follow G. Braggs Jr. It's Greg Braggs Jr. If you guys are on Twitter, make sure you give him a follow. He's at training camp every year, and he kills it with the videos. There's also, I follow the Bears Bar Room. If you guys don't follow them, get on Twitter and give them a follow because those guys are really knowledgeable with what's going on with the Bears and everything like that. Like I was saying, this is to go over the Hall of Fame game. So these are some things that I'm going to be looking at. Obviously, it's just going to be a vanilla offense and a vanilla defense. We're not going to see any exotic blitz packages or anything like that. But I want to see Chase Daniel, see if he is able to have accuracy and if he can hit the throws that he needs to be able to hit in the case that, God forbid, something happens to Trubisky. If we need to turn to him, hopefully he can do something. And he's not just a bad quarterback because look at the Eagles last year. You got to have at least a capable backup to come in and handle the situation if you need it to. Another thing that I'll be watching is Ryan Nall, a running back who was an undrafted free agent out of, I can't remember if it's Oregon or Oregon State. I want to say Oregon State. He's a white guy, and they say he plays a lot like Mike Allstott, so he could be a fullback, running back, hybrid type player. And I think he'll get a lot of playing time tomorrow. With obviously they might play a series or two with Howard and Cohen, and then from there it'll be a mixture of Cunningham, Mizell, the guy that we grabbed last year. I think it's Mizell, might be Mizell, I'm not sure, and of course Ryan Nall. So that'll be another thing to look out for. At the wide receiver position, as I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping they play some Anthony Miller. We can see what he does in live game situations. If he can continue to catch everything that's thrown his way, as they've been saying, his hands are like a cheat code. And if he can get open, the big thing about him is he runs routes so well. He can get himself open like an Antonio Brown type player who, his footwork is incredible and gets him open. Also want to see Kevin White. They've said, I listen to the Hogan Johns podcast. If you guys are Bears fans, you should check them out as well. And they were saying that he has some days where he's killing it, and he's got some days where he struggles. He'll catch a deep ball and then drop a slant. So we need to see if we can get anything at all out of him this year. Also, as a Kentucky Wildcat fan myself, I live here in Kentucky. I follow the Wildcats. There's a wide receiver named Garrett Johnson. He was an undrafted free agent. They brought him in as a camp tryout, and I'm hoping that he gets to play some tomorrow. He's quick. He's kind of a smaller receiver, but he's really quick. And if you know Matt Nagy's system, obviously with Tyreek Hill and Albert Wilson, he knows how to use the smaller, quick receivers, get them in space and see what they can do. So maybe we'll see him a little bit tomorrow, I'm hoping. Defensively, Kylie Fitz, they've said they've had to talk to him and get him to slow down in practice. Obviously, you can't tackle right now. That's the big thing with training camp. So tomorrow, let him loose, see what he can do. You got Lamar Jackson on the other side, which, as a Kentucky fan, I know from experience, the guy is incredible. He's fast. He has a strong arm, but he is small. So see if he can take a hit. If Kylie Fitz can get home and give him a good hit, I'd like to see how that works out. Also, we'll have Isaiah Irving at outside linebacker. We should be able to see some of him, see how he's progressing in the offseason. Obviously, as I said in other videos, the defensive end position, you've got Jonathan Bullard and you've got Roy Robertson Harris. They're both fighting for that defensive end spot, so I don't know how much time they'll get, but I'll be watching that. And the inside linebacker position, without Roquan there, Trevathan's not going to play, so I'm assuming. So you've got Kwiatkowski and you've got either John Timu or I believe Jonathan Anderson is still there, the guy from TCU. And I think they'll get majority of your reps. Kwiatkowski might get, I don't know, a quarter or so, but they know what they've got in him. He played quite a bit last year. At the safety position, Amos and Jackson might play a series. They might not play at all. So Deion Bush and DeAndre Hall will be two guys to watch out there, see how they're doing. At cornerback, Kevin Tolliver, an undrafted free agent out of LSU, made a few plays in training camp, and I've heard that he's done well. So he'll be a guy to watch at cornerback. And like I said in a previous video, the nickel corner position between Cravon LeBlanc and Bryce Callahan will be something to look out for. I'm sure Fuller and Amukamara, they might play a series or two, but they won't get a whole lot of play. Mostly what you're looking for in these preseason games is what these young guys can do. Undrafted free agents, late round picks, things that we don't see a lot of, that we'll get to see how these young guys are. And maybe, last year Tanner Gentry tore it up all spring camp and tore it up in the preseason, and they were able to stash him on their practice squad, and they pulled him up for a couple of games. But I'm not going to go there with our offensive coordinator not being able to use players correctly, but he didn't get used when he did get called up. So that'll be another thing you can look out for, guys that might hit our practice squad that hopefully we can stash, and for a rainy day, hopefully we won't need them because we need to stay healthy. That's all the great teams, if you see what they have in common, they have their health. And I think that's been, other than our coaching, that has been our major issue in Chicago, is our guys just can't stay healthy. You've got Kyle Long, who's been injured quite a few times. Danny Trevathan has issues with injury. He's a Kentucky guy, so I love him, but the facts are the facts. He's got injuries. Kyle Fuller sat out a whole year with a knee issue. Just things like that. But we really need to stay healthy, and that's what this Hall of Fame game is for, so you can see if something happens, somebody gets hurt, who's the guy we're going to call, and what do they look like in live action. The punting battle, finally they've brought someone in to contest with Pat O'Donnell in the punting game. But I like Pat. He's pretty good, but he has a very slow release, which scares the hell out of me. Every time he's back there to punt, it seems like he barely gets it off before someone's barreling into him to block it, which you don't want a blocked punt for obvious freaking reasons. So that'll be something to look out for, what this other punter does. I don't believe they brought in another kicker to contend with Cody Parkey, but if they did, and I haven't paid that much attention to it, that'll be something else to look for. Competition makes everybody better. Another issue I had with our former coaching staff, everybody at training camp could see Trubisky was better than Mike Glennon, but Glennon's the guy, and that was all there was to it. There was nothing anybody could say about it. Competition makes everybody better, period. So those are some things that I'm looking for. And if you guys like the video, please give me a like, maybe subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. And give me some comments with stuff that you guys might be looking for in tomorrow's Hall of Fame game. Bear down.